or whatever, and there's a lovely sun at the top, and it's going to reflect light from right to left. This is action painting. It does become very energetic, very it's strenuous in a way. I'm going to get into really awkward positions to get the paint what I want to. You've got to be fit to be an artist, especially at this size. So off we go. Let's see what happens. That's a cold yellow I'm going to use, and now I'm going to also apply a bit of Zen into my painting, and by that I mean I'm just going to get the strokes lead me. You know, the actual flow of it has to be on its own. That is by no means a final thing, so I can then, I don't like the top bit of it, so I'm going to apply some more there. Actually looking like a banana now. That's slightly better. The paint I'm using is my own acrylic, homemade acrylic, basically emulsion paint with a touch of PVA glue. Consistency varies. I mean, this is a thicker paint. I might have to water it down a bit. Now this one has a very interesting curve, so I'm going to try and follow that curve. This paint's a bit thick. I prefer it runnier. Okay, the curve's going that way. Righto. Even the smudges help. It could be like, you know, the wind has swept a bit off them or whatever. Leave it. Why interfere? You could, I mean, try something different and do a different movement. Let's go for the baby of the bunch. Now I'm going to add the white, which usually defines. The white and the black I used lastly. The black to emphasize the shadow, the white to really emphasize the highlights, and they tend to lift the figures out of the painting. Let's go. And this is something you can just keep on adding colour, you know, till the cows come home really. As long as you're happy with the effect, just keep on adding colour until you're happy. And if you don't like it, let it dry and you can just work over it again. The last bit I do now is the black shadows. That really defines the space and gives the idea of distance and all that. Then I would like to do other bits on top, like adding texture to the foreground, using sand, whatever. I don't know whether we'll have time to do it, but let's go for it. Sun's shining from there, so the shadow's going there. This is by no means a finished painting. I would probably add on more colors and look at the marbling effect of the paint, see how that starts to work, and maybe add touches of different colors to fine-tune it. Again, we've got restrictions of time. Now what I want to do is add texture to the foreground, something I would normally do before this. But again, we are on camera, on TV, so we don't have time to do it. What I do, imagine I hadn't done none of that. I would just cover the whole painting with the same glue we use for the t-shirt and just coat the areas I want to. You've got to be careful. I've got to be careful now not to go over the paint, because that's not meant to be like that. Coat these areas with the glue and then add the effect. Having done that, now I'm going to use something we have loads of in Jib, basically beach sand, which I've gathered from Eastern Beach, and just deposit, you know, freely that over the glue. Andrew, if you can sort of zoom into here, this is a thicker sand or stone, which I use for the extreme foreground, you know, big boulders. I also have some sand here, which I tend to like to use. This sand came all the way with me from the Sahara Desert. A couple of years ago I went down to the Sahara, and it's something I just add to it. It's basically a touch of it as a reminder of my visit to the Sahara. It's a different color, so I've got to be careful. It might affect. That should be okay. This is really fine sand. And just do like drawing. I now think this painting is not quite finished yet, but again, like I always say, it's close to it. I could always add to it and then finalize it, but I've enjoyed doing it. It's been fun, which is what I always say painting should be, and I think it's quite a complete painting, so anyone can do this. Just go for it, try it, and have fun.